heard. But we'll work with it. We'll work with the EpicSkillshot. Thank you very much. Needless to say, a very crazy game. I don't think any of us expected Camille to get through that in that game at all. I mean, obviously H2K have found some counterplay to Camille, but normally when we see this locked in, do you just expect the game to pretty much be over in the favor of whoever picks it up?
I think if Shen is open, there's like the Shen and Ivern combination was very interesting against Camille because you can just stack so much HP from shields, from Ivern healing and stuff. It was very smart from H2K actually. I was impressed.
I think historically, though, the drafts by and against Vitality tell you so much about how much the teams disrespect their pick and ban phase. Multiple Rengars available in Vitality games, multiple Camille's available in Vitality games. No one seems to mind giving them these top-tier picks that every other team in the world is avoiding giving up, and Vitality did not pick up the win. I mean, Camille just never snowballed.
Well, I mean, the thing is it felt like it for at the beginning of the game because what we did see was a very effective dive on the top side. And when we were talking about it on the desk, we said, this is exactly what we want. We want to see Camille finding an early lead. And, you know, Vitality are executing pretty well here. And Alphari, why don't you take us through this one?
This is just Camille flash ulting and haha, Shen, where are you going? He's not leaving the ulti.
From behind one turret all the way through to the inner turret, Camille just chases down. Febiven tries to come forward to help out a little bit here, realizes Jankos, despite having a good end to the game, Jankos can't actually offer too much at this scenario, so Febiven goes in to die. And this is where it looked actually really quite solid for Vitality, where you're thinking maybe they can still build their way into this game to pick up a series win.
Well, and of course, the story of the game felt like as we move more and more forward, as we looked at the fights to come, both teams seemed very content to overextend or to go so deep for any objective, anything available. And as we take a look at these next two replays, we can really see what went wrong on the side of Vitality.
And this, like, how many times are you going to see a Syndra and a Malzahar all in someone and them survive? Because of the Shen shield, everything else coming through here from the Redemption. I mean, Jankos just kind of walks away and just realizes he can turn the fight. This was just the strength of that Shen pick into the Camille. And this was how you can just really undo so much of what Vitality were opting for. Hachani, for some reason, is walking out there. And it is, again,
a little bit of a trend for Hachani. But the thing I want to ask is, Ivern Shen, clearly very strong in terms of shielding power. Is this a combo that you need to take away? Is this something that you absolutely cannot afford to play against?
I think you have to start considering it as like either a must-ban on blue side or maybe develop like I think a poke comp into it would be okay, because in general I think split push or poke against Ivern is generally a good way to go. It's very difficult to win in team fights, so it is playable against, but it's probably one of the strongest combos that currently exists in the meta for sure.
I mean, especially when we're seeing like standard bans coming out, and even allowing Camille through, it still manages to be an absolutely lethal threat. But despite all of this, despite H2K finding these leads, kind of outplaying Vitality, H2K, Deficio called it that one moment. We see it every H2K game, he said, and he said H2K overextended. They have to pick a bad fight, and this was it. And I mean, was this an opportunity for Vitality to come back? Alphari.
It was, but I mean, it wasn't until Febiven decided to flash in, and then it kind of was. But I think at this point, you're so far ahead. You have the bad team fighting comp by far. So even though H2K were didn't end as cleanly as they could have, it's not the end of the world, you know. I think they're still likely to win this game after this, so it's not too bad.
Cabo goes in, is like, I'm just gonna get one. That's all I need with the GA. Catch everybody out for the rest of it, and let the rest of the team clean up.
And yeah, we see the fall. Of course, that's the flash forward that you were talking about, Alphari. Now, looking at H2K. How are you feeling about this team overall? Because looking at them after week 2, I was like, this is going to be great. Aside from the Unicorns loss, I was like, this is a pretty solid team overall. After week 1 especially. Now I'm not so certain. It felt like a sloppy game. You guys, of course, are going to go up against them when you play across groups. Are you still considering H2K a top team here in the EU LCS?
I think they have some improvement to do to be considered a top team after looking at this series and the last one. But I think they have all strong players in every position. I think they just need to maybe change draft a little bit. In game 1, I think their draft was very bad, and I think obviously later on in the game they have a tendency to go for these unnecessary fights, which is sometimes bad for them, like you just saw. So I think they need to fix that, and they can be definitely a top team.
Something, of course, to work on. But one man who had a phenomenal series was, of course, Jankos. Going to give him Player of the Series. Amazing plays coming in on the Ivern, was consistently, fantastic for the team. Of course, Game 1 was a little bit rough overall, but from there on out, he was, once again, just the major factor here on H2K.
I was actually, even for Game 1, it was a difficult draft for a jungler to use because there's very few lanes that Kazakhstan made plays in, but he still managed to keep the game close. He still managed to try to find plays. So Jankos had an amazing series today.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see what Pybra thinks, because he is standing by with H2K's coach. Let's hear what Prolly has to say.
Thank you guys very much. I am, of course, joined by Prolly, the brains behind the H2K organization. Congrats on your win, 2-1. You're solidly looking at second place in Group B. So just want to start off with you. A lot of people criticize your draft in Game 1. I want to hear your side of the story.
Well, I don't really like to take stuff very slowly when it comes to our team because I kind of want to get us to the finish line as fast as possible in terms of creating synergy and learning the fundamentals of the game. So I'm not really picking any easy comps for them to play. So I kind of want them to be, showing the weaknesses we have early on right now. So with these comps, when they're played incorrectly or without discipline, you can really see it and the comps crumble. So that's the kind of thing I want to do right now and kind of, painfully make them learn the game this way.
All right, well, that approach, we'll see how it works out for you guys. So far, you are at least still getting the majority of those wins. But moving from that, I want to talk to you about just generally your thoughts on your team's performance so far and how, with this approach, are you happy with how that's going for you so far?
I guess it's okay. It's really a painful thing. It's like one of those massages that hurt you while you're, and it's supposed to feel good later or something. It's one of those. So normally I follow that until the third game in the series. I was really upset after that second game. The way Vitality was playing against us, I thought was really disrespectful. So in the third game, I decided to draft the most easy mode scaling comp in the world. So I knew my team could survive early game and then eventually just never lose. And a couple throws happened. But that very third game was the opposite of us trying hard comps. That was a very easy Shin Ivern comp where you super tank their whole team with your carries. And, I was really upset that I had to play that kind of comp now. I'd like to hold that until we were much better as a team and then pull out the easy stuff. So I'm upset we didn't get that practice, but so far that's the only game we kind of gave up practice for a win.
Well, and you pulled out the win at the end of the day. Still a few wrinkles, though, to work out. And, talking about it, you're going to be going up against G2 Esports next week. And how are you feeling about, toughest opponent in the league for the most part?
G2 Esports. I just really hope Perks and Forbidden play the lane normal and they don't try to all in at level 3 like they do in scrims. But other than that, all lanes are pretty equally matched. So I'm really excited to play against G2. And hopefully both of our comps will be a lot of fighting.
Well, I'll look forward to see how that actually goes. Thanks for the little insight on the scrims. All right, so let me hit you with one last one then. So we don't often talk to coaches on this side of things in the ULCS, but you're noted as one of the more vocal, big brainiac kind of coaches. What do you think of some of your newer peers here in the ULCS? We've had Daco on the desk here today, and a lot of newer guys coming in like Arian for Vitality. What do you think of them?
I prefer Nerd King, but I'll take that. I don't know, I actually like the new wave of coaches in EU. Something that I noticed really early on when I was coaching is a lot of coaches were just either ex-pros or they didn't really feel like they try-harded for the job, and they kind of just took it because they had game knowledge, so they wanted to be a coach. But the coaches now, when I speak to them, they seem a lot more put together, and they want to win with the team and not really just have knowledge and apply that. They kind of want to lead a group of people. And that's kind of what a coach needs to be. So I've really enjoyed, new Misfits coach and everything like that. They're all really knowledgeable, and they seem like they actually care about their team.
Yeah, stuff definitely leveling up. So, well, for you, Prolly, congratulations on your win for now. Best of luck for next week. But we are going to go ahead and throw it over to the break. Back at 3.5, we'll have Giants and G2.
Don't play aggressive. No flash for Jankos. Gonna be in trouble. Stand United not available. And that's first blood for Nukeduck. Nukeduck, Joko and Cabo turn their attention to Featherbit. There's no damage support in the shield. He's already burned through. Featherbit's running away for his life. But it's Joko with a reckless swing.
Wait, there's no QSS on Featherbit.
Oh, got him! even with the flash. Feathervin's down. Longer, but not Nuke. That's Odo on the front line. The ultimatum comes down. It's enough to kill a support, but H2K take down Vitality.
H2K! Good job, guys.